Hello and welcome to our STEAM project number 10, featuring the Raspberry Pi Pico and MicroPython. This lesson is a part of our Sherpa level series, designed for the experienced STEAM teacher. Today, we are taking our first steps into game development. We will create a simple but fun game where the computer picks a random number and the player has to guess it in as few tries as possible. Your class is going to love this. My name is Peter. I am the founder of Educommando and a certified STEM instructor. The goal of today is to develop a game where a player has to guess a number that has been randomly chosen by the computer. So we will work with the random function to generate a secret integer between 0 and 99. We will also create an interaction between the computer and the player on screen and with LEDs. We will learn some additional Python coding practices like defining a function, the random module, a try except block, and if, elif, else. But as always, the most important is to make sure that your class works as a team to find solutions, help each other, and communicate their project in a clear way. Let's first have a look at what we need for this project. We need the large breadboard with the Pico installed and the pinout reference card, a red and a green LED, 2 resistors of around 150 ohm or 220 ohm, and a couple of short and long preformed wires. And basically, that's it for the hardware. This is how the project looks like when finished. Show your students the fritzing drawing so they will be able to construct the project in their small team. Just give them a couple of minutes and please remind them that LEDs have a polarity. Once they are finished, they can connect the Pico to the computer and open Thonny to create a new program. The next part of this video is a live recording of the programming and actually also a good example how we can solve errors by checking the REPL messages. Okay, here we are in our Thonny environment, and as always we can start our program with a couple of comments, like for instance that this is lesson number 10 and it is called Guess the Secret Number. As for most of the programs, we will need some modules, and the one that we are going to use in this game specifically, and it is one that is used often in games, is the random module. So from random, and we will need a specific class that is called rand int. Because we are using a couple of LEDs, we will also have to use from machine import the class pin, and because we will need some delays, we will import from the module time, we will import sleep. Okay. As I said, we are using a couple of LEDs, green LED when you have guessed the number, a red light when it's too high or too low your guess. So the green LED is going to be pin, and we will add it to pin number 14, and it is a pin dot out. The same for the red LED, which is connected to pin 15, and it is also a pin out. Okay. Now, in the previous lesson, I talked about defining your own functions, and this is exactly what we are going to do in this lesson. We are going to define a function, and we do that by simply typing def for define, and we want to actually have the whole game as one function, and let's call that function play_game. And we open and close the rounded brackets, and we end with a colon. So what do we need to do in that game? The first thing that is always nice is to make sure that everything is set back to a normal state. And specifically our LEDs, we don't want any of the LEDs already blinking or being switched on. So the first thing we want to do is to make sure that both of them are off. So red LED dot off, and the same for the green underscore LED dot off. Okay. What do we need next? Well, we have to guess a random number, and we want that number to be between 0 and 99. So that generation is a variable, and we will call that variable secret number. Now, what is that secret number? It is a rand, int, of a number between 0 and 99. Okay, so that's the secret number that we, or that the player will have to guess. Now, before he starts to guess, we are very nice and we're going to welcome the guest. And we want to welcome him within the REPL with a text. So we print something like, let's play a game. Guess my secret number between 0 and 99. I think we have, that's better. Now we need to create the whole logic of the guessing. We can call it like a guessing loop. So we need to capture the input of the player. That's of course again a variable, and let's call that variable guess. Let's give it a number to start with. We can give it any number. You can give it a negative number or anything else. I'll just give it the number 0 to start with. And of course, we will need to create a loop, a while loop, because the user, the player, is going to guess a number of numbers before he or she will actually get it. And we will do that by typing a while loop. So while the guess, that variable, is different from the secret number, and we use here the command try to guess the string. And we need to actually do here two things. First one is that what the user is going to type in is going to be the input, and that's going to be a variable again. It's going to be a string, and that string is input from the prompt, enter your guess. Now, of course, we want to compare it with an integer, so we have to create guess as the integer of that string that was just sent to us. Except when we get a value error, what do we need to do then? Well, then we have to print something else. We have to print this is an, sorry, in between brackets first, invalid input or something like that, invalid input, please enter a number. And otherwise continue. So what happened here is that as long as the user is trying and guessing, it will continue with enter your guess, enter your number, whatever you want. So, however, if it is an wrong input, and that wrong input can be, for instance, that the user is typing a letter or a symbol, then it will actually give the feedback that it is invalid input. If nothing of that happens, then you just continue with the while loop. Now we want to do a couple of additional things. Namely, we also want to give some feedback. So if the user is typing in a too high number or a too low number. So we're going to start comparing that variable guess with the secret number. So if the guess is smaller than the secret number, why am I always typing this one, the secret number, what will we do? So colon, well, we want to type print it is too low, try again. But we also want the red LED to switch on, so red LED dot on. But we don't want it on forever, so let's say that we want it on for 2 seconds, and then we want to switch it off again. Okay, so that's the first if. The second if, and we use the else if or elif, if the guess is bigger than the secret number, what will happen then? Well, we will print too high, try again. And once again, the red LED will switch on for 2 seconds, and then it will switch off again. Else, what else? If none of those two is correct, well, then it must be the right one. So then you can print congratulations. Congratulations, you have guessed my secret number. And yes, we can have an exclamation mark behind that. Why not? The green LED is switched on. And let's keep it on for, let's say, 5 seconds. And then also that green LED can be switched off. Okay, so that's I think for the main, or for this this particular function. Now, how do we make it run? Well, we have to create a main loop to do that, and of course that is our trusted while true loop. And this is the nice thing, because the way to call the function is very easy. You just have to type the name of the function, and in our case it was play game, and that's it. Now, of course, this will play the game, but we want to kind of again interact with the player and ask the player, do you want to play again? So in this case, we require again input from the player, and we will call that input play again. And that is the input that comes after the prompt. Do you want to play again? And then let's say give him the option to either type yes or no. And just to make sure that everything is turned into uppercase, we add upper. And if the variable play again, and so the input from the player, is anything different from a yes, then we will print a nice thank you. And hopefully we will see the player again. And we will break and stop the program. Well, let's see if it works. Line 20 has an error. Let me have a look. Oh yes, input. Enter your guess. It's like this. Line 45 and 10. Oh, red LED. Probably used a red LED. Of course. No. Green, this one here, this is wrong, red LED. Yes. Okay, now it's very nice to see some of the errors and how you can interact and see what the REPL is saying, so that you and your class can easily debug your program. So enter your guess. Let's say it's 25. It's too low, and I can see the red light going on, so I try again with 50. It's again too low, so let's try 75. Oh, let's try 85. That's too high. 80. It's too low. Try again. So let's say it's 81, 82, 83, 84. Yes, Congratulations, I have guessed the secret number of the computer. And you can see here nicely the prompt if I want to play again. Now, this is where the upper came in, because even if I type a small y, it will not prompt me again what it is. So this is again an error in 48. This is what I need to do. It has to be something like this. Right. Now it will work. So let's run it again. Hopefully I will be able to guess it quickly. Okay, 50. 25, 35, 40, 43. I guessed it again, and let us see if my small y works this time. Yes, and we will get into the loop again. So a bit of a long explanation, but I wanted to show you how it works when you record something live, and how you actually can debug together with your class while you're actually beyond or before your screen in order to make it work. So I hope it works for your class too. If it doesn't work, well, you know, no panic at all. And, well, that's a wrap on lesson number 10. I am sure that you and your class enjoyed it. Now that we have covered some game development basics, let's tackle a new challenge. In our next project, we will program a virtual die. I look forward to seeing you again. Bye bye for now.